Hey everybody, this is Joe Ozegovich. I'm here to talk to you today about my long distance trip that I'm going to make. I'm going to be heading to the east side of Atlanta from Memphis, Tennessee. So it's going to be a long distance trip. It'll take most of the day, whether it be an electric car or internal combustion engine car. So right now I have my car charging up and it's pretty much full. I don't go too full, I just have a little bit of reserve in there just for regenerative braking, which help to slow the car down and recharge the battery some. So I always leave a little bit in there. I'm gonna go on this long distance trip. It's gonna, let's see, I'll have about 4 or 5 stops along the way. Every 2 hours or so, I have to use the restroom. So that makes for a perfect opportunity to charge the vehicle up. Now the beauty of that is that 2 hours of driving through a supercharger, which is a DC fast charger, very high rate on the interstates, they could charge my 2-hour commute that I just did in about 15 minutes. So when I go to use the restroom, I end up grabbing a snack or a drink or something like that, coming back maybe a couple minutes there, and then I'm ready to go to the next stop 2 hours away, and I have to repeat. My car is approaching 8 years old. It's got 94,000 miles on it, and so far so good as far as the battery and the motor. It's looking pretty healthy, and so I've been pretty happy with the product. I bought it new in 2014, and the first thing I did just after I got it, me and my buddy Lewis Patrick, we went on a trip to New York and back to demonstrate that in an electric car you can go long distances. And then 2 years later, in 2016, Lewis and I went on another trip. We went to Canada and back just to demonstrate not only could it go long distances, but it could leave the country. So the main thing to remember is don't be afraid of an electric car. Change that paradigm. All right, I'll just set the nav system up to navigate to Chattanooga. That will force the system to go the route that I want to go to, and then I'll later plug in for Atlanta once that's set up. So with that, navigate to Chattanooga. All right, let me go ahead and select that bad boy up. This is so easy. Look at this. There's tons of charging stations all over the place. Nothing to worry about. Okay, so there it shows Chattanooga's route. First stop says I can go all the way to Dixon. I don't even need to stop at Jackson, Tennessee. It shows me getting to Chattanooga at 5 hours and 37 minutes from my home, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I reached my first supercharger stop, and this is at Casey Jones Village in Jackson, Tennessee. And little information tip, this Casey Jones Village has a nice place to eat, some good country cooking. It's actually got a Pullman cart for display. It has a museum, a rail museum shown here. So there's opportunities to do something while you're here if you want to take some time to supply some funds to your local Tesla supercharger area. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you how this supercharger works. This is so easy. All right, so you do is you grab this connector here, pull it out. There's a button right on the front face. You just tap that button and the door opens up automatically for the charger. You just plug that sucker in. See a blue light while it's communicating with the car, and then it'll change to green once it's ready to charge. Actually, it'll show green when it is charging. Okay, so I'm at 65% of charge rate. I can translate that into miles. I can go into my settings and go to display, and then I can select distance instead of energy. And when I select this selection here for energy or distance, excuse me, I can now go back to the display, and now it shows how many miles as opposed to percentage of charge. So right now I have about 159 miles. I'm going to go ahead and just sit here for a few minutes. I'm going to go use the restroom, grab something to drink, And when I come back, again, I'm not worried about range. This is not the stop is mostly for me to use the restroom and then pick up a charge that's convenient, and then move on to the next location about 2 hours away. So with that, I wanted to show you how the supercharger works. Okay, I'm getting ready to go to the next pit stop. That'll probably be in Dixon. And I just finished up at Casey Jones Village. Went used the restroom, picked up a nice little suite from my suite, and I just added 38 miles. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on from here. Range is obviously not an issue. Again, it's charging slower at a higher state of charge, just simply because of the capacity of the battery. So with that, on to the next stop. All right, I'm at the Dixon supercharger, and here's the hotel, the Holiday Inn Express, and just to the left is a O'Charlie's, and then further off to the left there's some hotels, and then there's a Cotton restaurant, or Colton's restaurant, excuse me. It's a steak place. So as you can see, there's plenty of superchargers here, plenty of them open. We've got one other Tesla in charge, another looks like it made a stay tonight, and since it's not needing the charger, it's just hanging out. So beautiful day here, about 70 degrees, and pretty good location. This is just before the bypass of Nashville. Okay, just transitioned to ready to go to your destination. So I'm going to go ahead and start going from here. So here we go. Next stop, Manchester. Okay, so this is the Manchester supercharger. It's located in the parking lot of a Dunkin' Donuts, which has a nice little rest area out front. It's open air, and you can have a cup of coffee, some donuts, or just relax. You also have tons of options, mostly fast food. There's Bojangles and McDonald's across the street. I think they're open up pretty late at McDonald's. You might be able to use the restroom there. The Dunkin' Donuts hours are 5 a.m. opening to 10 p.m. closing. So if you fit within that hour, you can do pretty good. There's a bunch of gas stations not too far away. There's one Raceway, and then there's another mobile one, which you might be able to see just down the road. It's not that far of a walk. That'll probably give you access to restrooms and then other facilities. Baskin Robbins, so it's not too bad. But this Dunkin' Donuts is pretty good. Has a nice atmosphere where you can just sit up front. It's open air, and on a day like today where it's 70 degrees and sunny, yeah, in February, this is pretty cool. Okay, just finished up this charging at Manchester, Tennessee supercharger. On to my next stop, which is Adairsville. This is also a new one to me. I have not been to this location, so we'll see how it goes. So off to the next stop, and it'll be about 122 miles. Okay, so this is the Kimball supercharger I just connected, and let me give you a look around here. You see a Cracker Barrel, which is got some pretty good hours for checking things out. It's got a strip mall in here. It's pretty cool. Got a lot of different places to shop if you'd like to. We have a ATM, I guess, and some fast food with KFC, Wendy's, A&W, and then of course Taco Bell. And so it's not a bad location. It's got resources available. I'm really glad to see that there's fast food places that are starting to take in these chargers in their lots. That really helps for a variety of hours. Oh, by the way, there's a Walmart there in the corner as well. This is the first stop in Tennessee for me on the return, and it looks like a really good location. We have a 250 kilowatt hour max supercharger here. Okay, just arrived at the Adairsville, Georgia supercharger. It's kind of busy here. I got the last spot, so that was cool. And I'm going to go ahead and plug in. All right, we're looking at about 82 kilowatts, 275 miles an hour charge rate. And what will happen is it will ramp up on the kilowatt hours, and then it'll slowly come down. So right now we're seeing I'm at 25% state of charge, and let's see here, about 20 minutes before I'm able to get to my destination with about 20% charge, state of charge when I get there. So that gives me a little bit on that end. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you some more around the area. Okay, there's a small motel close by, walking distance. You got the gas station. We got looks like Taco Bell, and then Zaxby, Burger King. There's a McDonald's across the street. So there's plenty of places to eat and to dine in if you care to be part of it. As you can see here, we got pretty good size of people here. We got one spot open, and that just opened up. All right, so I'm gonna grab something to eat, use the restroom, and I'll talk to you later. Okay, I'll make this fast. So far, just completed the trip, and you can see at the bottom it shows 394 miles at 121 kilowatt hours and 307 watt hours per mile. That was for minus, there's about 80 miles that I didn't account for, a mistake on my part. So figure about 80 miles on there, and probably the same average watt hour per mile. And then down here, this shows the last leg, and you could see that I did better than what was projected in terms of efficiency. I was supposed to have about 28%, and I got 33%. So looking good. I completed my trip, and it's Valentine's weekend, so I will talk to you on the return. All right. Good night. So here's something really cool. I am at my girlfriend's house, and she doesn't have a charging station, but just like every home and every business, electrical power is there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to having this being supplied by the 240 volt plug that you see there. All right, so I've taken off the 240 volt, and now I'm going to use the 120 volt outlet, and I'm just going to just change the connector, get the T on the top, and then just plug that in. All right, so I just plug through an extension cord, which is not ideal. There'll be some energy loss, but it still works, and it helps cover the gap. Now I take this other end right here, and I click the button to open the door, and I plug it in, and now I get a green light right away. Notice it's flashing at a very slow rate because it's close to full charge. So what I'm going to do is trickle up from where I am about 77% up to about maybe 93% for my trip tomorrow. So this is just getting prepared for the big trip. I'm using the portable Tesla cable, or brick as they refer to it, and then it goes through an extension cord into the house. This makes it usable at anybody's home, since every home has electrical power, and every business as well. Unlike a gas station where you have to physically go to a gas station and then hope that everything's good there. You may be asking or inquiring, how much charge does it provide from 120 volts? This will be about 5 miles per hour, so it's a really slow rate. So I'm not going to go until the morning, so I'll have more than enough to cover me for that long trip tomorrow, and since I'm already at 77%. So charge rate will be much slower than 240 volts, but it is an opportunity to charge, and I'm taking advantage of it. So with that, folks, talk to you later. All right, folks, I have finished my journey. I've just returned to my home in Bartlett or Memphis, Tennessee area. I had 472 and a half miles of commuting one way, and 155.6 kilowatt hours consumed, and that's a rate of 329 watt hours per mile. Now this number here is a little bit higher than what it was going there. Going there was about 310. That's my efficiency. That translates into 102.3 miles per gallon equivalent. 102.3 miles per gallon equivalent. And then on the way to Atlanta area, it probably was about maybe 105, 106 miles per gallon equivalent. So, I mean, this is a Model S 85. It's 4,600 pounds, all right, so it's a very heavy vehicle. It's equal to a Mercedes S-Class 550 and maybe an A7 Audi. And those average 15 miles per gallon. 15 miles per gallon versus 102 in my worst case example. 102. I mean, just the efficiency. And do I have to sacrifice any performance? No. The electric car will blow the pants out of these other vehicles, especially on the 0 to 60. So that's something to consider when you're looking at a new vehicle. Electric car is definitely something that you can use on a long trip, as demonstrated here. So change the paradigm. Don't be afraid of an electric car, and make sure your next vehicle doesn't have a tailpipe. With that, good night, folks, and thanks for taking the journey with me.